What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here. I am going to talk to you about the first episode of the Netflix series Cursed. This is a King Arthur thing that is based on an illustrated novel by Frank Miller and someone else. I can't remember his name. And there are 10 episodes of the series, about an hour each, and I'm going to do a video review of each episode. I've only seen the first episode, so I'm only going to be spoiling the first episode. It is titled Nimue, and this has the woman who is in Season 1 of 13 Reasons Why. She played a minor role in Knives Out. I can't remember her name. She plays Nimue. She is a magic user in this small village, and no one in the village really likes her. They're all calling her, "Oh, you witch," and she is a fae. Now, generally in British mythology, a fae is just another word for a fairy, and that's not exactly what's going on here. The fae seem to be humanoid, and I couldn't tell if the Fae are just a group of people, kind of like the Druids, and their ways are different than the ways of other people, but I'm not really sure, or if this is more of a typical way of how the Fae are portrayed, like they really are magic users. But pretty much everyone in this village really doesn't like Nimue. She seems to be the only one who can actually use magic. At one point, she is enchanting some wood to choke this guy, and everyone seems kind of afraid of her and disdains her. But they do practice some kind of old religion. Generally in King Arthur stuff, you will see kind of a waning of the old ways and kind of the beginning of the people accepting Christianity, and you're not getting so much of that here, but at one point Nimue and her friend, they go into the city, and there doesn't seem to be as much of worshiping the old ways that Nimue and her friend, that their people practice in this city. There's not as much acceptance of that. So as we go further, I'm curious if we're going to see that kind of clash that we usually see in King Arthur type stories set around the Dark Ages, like the late 400s, early 500s. But this kind of feels very Star Wars A New Hope in a little bit of a way. You've got this person who is about to be thrust on the path to greatness, and then, I guess spoilers for this episode, but Nimue, she is chosen in this festival, not really a festival, more of a ceremony. It's someone had died, and then there's all these sparks and embers, they're flying around, and then they kind of encircle Nimue, and so she is going to be the new summoner. And we don't really know what that means, but she does not want this, so she runs away. She is going to get on a boat, but the boat left early, so she's not able to do that. And then while they're in that town, she and her friend meet Arthur. And Arthur is, I don't know the actor's name, but I really like him. I like the way that this character is being portrayed here. It's like he has the ideals that I usually like to see Arthur having. A lot of times you see Arthur as the leader and trailblazer of this golden age, and he has all these like very forward-thinking ideas that would be very out of place in this time period in reality, but he wants things to be better for everyone, and you can tell that that's what's going on with this guy, except that at least in this episode he is not a prince. Now maybe we're going to find out that he's the illegitimate son of Uther, and he is in this series. Uther is the king and is generally Arthur's father in almost every Arthurian thing that I've seen, but maybe we will find out that he is the prince and he just doesn't know it yet, or maybe he knows and he hasn't told anyone. He's trying to keep that close to the vest. I'm not really sure, but he meets Nimue. He's kind of got a thing for her, she's kind of got a thing for him, but then they kind of hang out a little bit, and then when Nimue and her friend, Nimue gets a vision, and so she wants to get away from Arthur, and then they get back to their village, and it's being attacked by the Red Paladins. And we don't know much about these guys, except that they are seeking out what they call demons. That might just be magic users, or the Fae. They are seeking out demons to kill and just generally very violently destroy any village that has demons in it. And they're attacking this entire village, and like I said, no one else in this village had magical abilities. So I'm not really sure if the Fae are just people who live out in the woods and try to stay away from the rest of civilization, or if the Fae are all magic users. I'm not really sure about that. Arthur knows that Nimue is a Fae just because of her using her abilities, so I wish there was a little bit more made clear what the Fae are. Are they just people, and then within the Fae there are people who can use abilities? I wish there would be more explanation of that, but we've still got 9 more episodes, so that may be more clearly explained as we go. But But Nimue, she gets a sword from her mom. It's, I'm assuming, Excalibur, although in Arthurian mythology, there's actually two swords. There's a sword and a stone, and then later it gets broken, and then the Lady of the Lake gives Excalibur to Arthur. So this may not be called Excalibur at any point in the series. But Nimue is charged to bring this sword to Merlin, who is the court magician of Uther. And I really like this version of Merlin. He's played by one of the Skarsgård brothers, and he was in the Vikings show. I've never seen that show, but that's the one. He's really interesting. He seems to have had magical abilities at one time, but it's hinted that he has lost his powers, and I don't know if he ever had powers. Maybe he just let his reputation kind of get out there, like, I have magical abilities. He tells someone at one point that 400 assassins were once sent to kill him, and he killed them all with a lightning storm that lasted 7 days, and he scares them away with his reputation, and I like that. I like that he's using showmanship to try and make people think that he's a big deal, but maybe he doesn't have any magical abilities at all. But he's not entirely a charlatan because he does know about stuff. He sees all these signs and he sees, okay, something big is coming, but we don't see him do any spell casting or anything. So it's going to be really interesting. I'm assuming, going with the A New Hope analogy, that this Merlin is going to kind of be the Obi-Wan Kenobi to Nimue's Luke, and he's going to be training her, but he doesn't necessarily have any actual magical abilities, and that will be very interesting to see. So far, I like what's going on here. I was a little hesitant when I went into this because when I first saw the trailer a little less than a month ago, I was not fully on board. I want to see a more traditional Arthurian thing. Pretty much anytime we have King Arthur used in a story in the last, I don't know, 20 years, usually it's like, it's King Arthur, but something is different. Like the Merlin BBC series, it's King Arthur, but it's Smallville. Or the Clive Owen movie, it's King Arthur, but take out all of the magical stuff. Or the Guy Ritchie movie, it's King Arthur, but he's a street fighter. So every time it's like, okay, it's King Arthur, but we're going to do something different. And I would be fine with that if we could just have one version of King Arthur in the last 50 years that is pretty much just a straight-up adaptation of King Arthur. And this isn't that, but by the end of this episode, I didn't care. I was really on board. I like that this is throwing in enough King Arthur things that you're going to recognize, so it's not just a generic fantasy thing. The Guy Ritchie King Arthur movie, I like that better than some people did, but I was kind of disappointed with that. And the thing about that was it was pretty much just Arthur and then a whole bunch of other characters who are not really from King Arthur stuff. They might at the very end say, oh, this guy's Tristan, and Merlin, he's off somewhere doing a thing. But this, you got Merlin, you got Arthur, you got Uther, you have Nimue. At one point they mention Gawain, and then Bors is a character we see briefly. He's not going to be very important. I'm assuming we're not going to actually see Gawain, but we're getting enough King Arthur stuff here that I like it, and it's different than what I like to envision as my ideal King Arthur, but it's still good, and I really like it, and I'm going to keep watching. So that's about it for the episode titled Nimue. So tune in maybe tomorrow, and I'll try to do a review of episode 2. So with that being said, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.